Hey everybody. Okay, so the time has come for Module 3E. This is Cosmic Self-Awareness for Total Wellness, and we are on Week 7, Circuits, Gates, and Channels. So I'm going to present this to you guys in a slide format, and as always, if you have any questions within this format on the live stream, I'm not going to be able to actually see the questions that are coming up if anyone is tuned in, but if you are watching on the replay, you can always post comments live as you're watching, or questions live as you're watching. I will see those and be able to respond to any questions or comments that you have as we go through this material. There is a lot to circuits, gates, and channels. And the number one thing to just remember on this wellness journey is that we are looking at this information as it relates to our healing journey. We're looking for information that helps to illuminate where we may be stuck, where these energies may be holding us back from experiencing life the way that we prefer, in our body, mind, spirit, relationships, and even in our finances. So that's just something to keep in mind as we go along, and I'm going to go ahead and jump right on in. Alrighty. So first of all, we're talking about defined gates and channels. And so in this first week, in this 7th week of the program, we're learning about circuitry. And well, I'm going to share with you at the end, but I'll talk a little bit about it now, that I want you to learn how to keyword your gates and channels so that you can contemplate what these energies mean to you and how they have shown up in your life. The process of contemplation is very powerful, as we've discussed before. And just the act of focusing on these aspects of yourself will raise your vibration and take you to higher frequencies of being and healing. So for this exercise, you'll need your journal and your body graph. And if you're not sure about your body graph, let me know, and I will show you how to get that. Also, there's a lot more information in the book, Understanding Human Design by Karen Curry. And so I have a link for you guys to that book, and I will post the link as well so that you can access the information to either buy the book or download the PDF. All right. So define gates and channels. This is the image you're looking at is my body graph, and you can see that there are aspects of the chart, the lines on the chart that are colored in red and black. And the defined channels, so where they're colored in on your chart, those are defined. They carry the consistent themes in your life. And so a channel is going to be one of these that's completely filled in. Let's see if I can use the pointer here. That might be easier for you to see. So where you're looking on here, you're seeing these connected from one center to the next. So that would be a channel. This one here would be a channel. This is a channel. Okay, so you get the point. That would be the channel. And so these, again, defined channels carry consistent themes in your life. The hanging gates, or the gates, which are half a channel, will be the themes that you live out in your relationships. You'll always be attracted to the other half of the channel, and the theme in the channel will be lived out in your relationship. Defined information of gates and channels will show up in your body graph in black or red, or a combination of both. So you can see on there some of my channels and gates are black and red, some are just black, some are red. What that means is the red means that this is your unconscious design. And so you can see the numbers along the left side of the chart under the word design. All of those are the gates that show up on your chart. And being in red means that this information was encoded into your design 3 months before you were born. This is the unconscious or subconscious aspect of your consciousness. It's also, coincidentally or pretty paradoxically, what drives us. This is the information that sort of you're always automatically doing, whether you're aware that you're doing it or not. And then on the other side, the black is personality. And this is really more of the aspect of your being that you're pretty much aware of. When you begin to look at these, you'll have a little bit more awareness of this aspect of your personality. And this is what information was encoded the moment you were born. Okay. So when we look at our own unique design, there are groupings of channels. And it's really helpful to understand how these groupings of your channels, what they're actually saying about you in terms of, basically just how you are. And so there are 3 major groupings of circuits. There's collective, individual, and tribal. And again, you're going to want to download the PDF or purchase the book, Understanding Human Design, to really dive into a deeper understanding of these. And we're going to go through each one of them today. We're not going to dive really deeply into it, but just enough to kind of give you a grasp on what is going on within your own chart. So again, if you can have your chart handy while we're going through this would be beneficial for you. All right. Okay, so again, there's 3 circuits. And much like the electrical wiring in your house or on a circuit board in your computer, the body graph has lines of related energy that operate together called circuits. Each of these circuits plays a unique role in sharing information, values, and survival strategies, and they all work in conjunction to further humanity. On a personal level, your defined circuits and gates will help you understand why you are the way you are, what drives you, and why you may keep repeating certain themes in your life. Your defined circuits also help you to understand your life purpose and what you're here to do. So the individual circuit is all about initiating change on the individual level. When one person gets a new idea or discovers a new way to do something, this energy is represented in the individual circuit. The energy here varies from the norm. It mutates and constantly inspires change in others. When the individual discovers a new perspective or a different way of doing things, they bring this change to the tribe, represented by the tribal circuit, and members of the tribe then spread the change to the greater whole of humanity, or the collective circuit. Mutation and empowerment originate in the individual circuitry. If you have individual circuitry, you're here to be different, and in order to be happy, you must fully express your uniqueness. You feel different from most people and may even act or dress outside the norm. The uniqueness of individuality brings change because this is energetic. Individual energy doesn't have to do anything to bring change. It just has to be, and it affects others. The individual circuit is intuitively claircognizant, meaning that when you have individual circuitry in your chart, you often just know things. You may not know how you know, you just know that you do. This spontaneous knowing can drive logical people crazy. Individuality is not logical at all. And so, affirmations for the individual circuit. I'm here to be different, and I celebrate my uniqueness. I let my inner wisdom develop over time and share it with people who ask. I'm free to express my powerful uniqueness, and I let my light shine everywhere I go. And I allow myself to be who I am with confidence and grace. So So you can think about who you know. If you don't have a lot of individual circuitry, maybe there's people that you know who do, and you can start to notice that this is probably how they're designed when they have these certain aspects of their personality. All right. So each of these circuits, like I said, has subcircuits. So next we're going to look at the individual subcircuits. And individual circuitry contains 3 subcircuits: integration, centering, and knowing. And each of the individual subcircuits carries the theme of mutation, transformation, and the ability to articulate new ideas when the timing is right. Integration is intuitive, motorized by life force and driven by identity. The theme of integration is the phrase, I am. Oops, let me change the slide for you guys. Okay, so we're talking about the integration circuit. And again, it's intuitive. So because it is connected in here with the spleen, it is motorized by life force, which I wish that this little thingy would stop popping up. Maybe there's a way for me to change that. Nope, doesn't look like. Oh, there we go. All right, so it's life force here in the sacral, and it's driven by identity here in the G center. And so the theme of integration is the phrase, I am. The job of the integration circuit is to develop awareness of the self as differentiated from others and conscious in our form. People who have integration circuit are highly mutative, which means that they're very transformational type of people and deeply individual. They may sometimes struggle to feel like they fit in. Integration needs time for inner reflection and creating new paradigms as new experiences are integrated into the archetype of being human. And of course, in addition to time, integration also needs to respond. This is a generated circuit. So again, generated circuit, meaning it typically is only, well, of course, it's only going to be found in generators because of the sacral connection. And the channels are the channel of power, the 3457, the perfected form, 5710, the channel of charisma, which is 3420, and the channel of awakening, which is 2010. Often, people with integration struggle to respond or even be in the moment. They need to integrate before they know what to do. This can sometimes be frustrating if you're trying to act or respond in the moment. Time to integrate or go into the proverbial cave is crucial for these people, especially on an interpersonal level. It's not uncommon for people with significant channels of integration defined to be perceived as self-referenced. They're not selfish, just individual by design. It's not personal. It's just the way the energy of this circuit works. The wiring in this circuit is very complex, with gates overlapping in different channels. This doesn't happen in any other circuit. And again, you can read more about these individual channels in Understanding the Human Design book that you can find on my website, and I will put the link here for you. Okay. The next one is the centering circuit. And the centering circuit is considered a minor circuit. It only has 2 channels, but they're very compelling. 2 of its 3 centers are motors, the sacral center and the will center. The centering circuit acts as a vortex. People who are drawn into the energy vortex of the centering circuit are influenced to act more individually, regardless of their own definition. So if you have these channels, you will be able to influence people to act like individuals, even if they typically would not otherwise. The centering circuit is a mutative force, meaning transformational. It ultimately is designed to initiate others in the love of self and spirit. And it will use life force energy, sacral energy, to make it happen. The centering circuit is empowering in another way too, because there is perfected behavior of the love of self and spirit here. It is initiated and sustained. The centering circuit can energetically move people into self-love simply by being. Again, there's no convincing and talking here. The centering circuit, merely through responding, will empower others to love themselves and consequently create mutation or change. And the channels are 3410 and the 2551. And yours truly has the 3410. That would be me. So when we think about the centering, here's a way to think about it. So tribal energy is all about sacrifice for the greater good of the whole. And when the individual centering circuit steps into the tribal aura, caring mutates into caring about the self. Pretty awesome. All right, the next one is the knowing circuit. So timing is everything in the knowing circuit. And in this circuit, we see both centers for time, the spleen, which is about the now and right action when the timing is right, and the emotional solar plexus, which is about the energy for expression after taking time for clarity. Of course, with timing and struggle being a part of the circuit, it's easy to imagine challenges facing people with significant definition in this circuit. You have to trust and wait for the right time to share what you know. If you do, you'll be considered a genius. And if you don't, you'll run the risk of being misunderstood. And once again, I do have a lot of these tribal knowing subcircuits. The knowing circuit simply knows, and it doesn't know how it knows. It just knows that it does. If someone has a lot of knowing circuit definition mixed in with logic circuitry, which can be doubtful, he or she can have a tremendous amount of self-doubt until they understand how they're hardwired. Being heard and waiting for the right timing for the right words or not is one challenge for the circuit. The other challenge is listening. It can feel frustrating to others to try to connect it with this energy. Remember that ignoring is not really ignoring, but rather just the symptom of someone who likes to think and feel a lot. If you love someone with a lot of knowing circuit definition, touch them to get their attention. Their not listening is not personal. And there are a lot of knowing circuit channels, as you can see here. So awareness, structuring, struggle, the brainwave, mutation, the beat, inspiration, emoting, and openness are all of the knowing circuit channels. All right, next we're going to talk about the tribal circuit. And tribal circuitry is all about family, values, reproduction, and caring. Your tribe is comprised of your friends, family, and neighbors. Tribal energies are responsible for the transmission of values, allocation and management of resources, contracts and agreements, and birthing and raising children to adulthood. Included in these energies are cooking, educating, sexuality, and business. And there are two subcircuits in tribal circuitry, the defense circuit and the ego circuit. The tribal energy is about allocating and managing resources over time, and the tribe survives because of its resources. And so tribal energies, again, contracts, agreements, marriage, divorce, treaties, and business deals, religions and religious beliefs, rules and values, sex, sexual bonds and family ties, child rearing and education, war and peace treaties, and defense and harmony. And so affirmations for those with tribal circuitry: I feel good when I am with my friends and family. I feel good when I take care of myself and others. I set good boundaries for myself so that I can take better care of others. I manage my money and my time well. I honor my agreements. And of course, you can probably take some time to come up with affirmations of your own for these energies as well. Be a powerful thing to do. All right. So The defense circuit is the first of the tribal subcircuits that we're going to talk about. And the defense circuit is the glue that binds the family and the tribe together. It's one of the seats of love in the chart. The love of the defense circuit is a wild and powerful kind of love. It's the kind of love that gives mothers superhuman strength when they need to protect their children, and that makes men go to war when they feel they need to defend their territory. Here we also find the energy for sex and the sexual conquest, and all the rules and regulations about sex and reproduction. The energies of defense circuit show us that sex has life and death consequences and needs to be entered in only after deliberation. The defense circuit channels are reproduction, which is 59-6, and preservation, which is the 50-27. And the other tribal subcircuit is the ego circuit. The ego circuit contains the emotional solar plexus, the will center, and the root. It is creativity and bringing forth agreement into material form when the timing is correct. The ego circuit, like the defense circuit, has a specific aspect that requires time for clarity. Tribal circuitry is all about maintaining and sustaining the tribe for generations, and the ego circuit provides the resources and agreements that create the foundation of the tribe. In the ego circuitry, we find the energy for ambition, business, sales, money, and resource allocation and management, as well as the energy for marriage and social contracts and bargains. The parts of the ego circuit that have to do with ambition, initiation of business ideas, sales, and resource management are not emotional. But the parts of the ego circuit that are about tribal agreements, such as marriages and business deals, are emotional. Again, don't jump into anything related to relationships, especially a potentially long-term one, without waiting for clarity. Otherwise, you have the potential for revolution and war. The ego circuit channels are the transformation, 5432, surrender, 4426, love and marriage, the 1949, the bargain, 4037, and the money line, which is 4521. So take a look at your chart and see if any of those apply to you. Then you can go to the book and dig deeper into what the wording, the keywords, the phrases, and things that you can contemplate within each one of those. The last of the circuits is the collective circuit. And the collective circuit is all about the survival of humanity. It has two themes, projection and reflection. It projects what is coming next based on lessons from the past, and it reflects the potential and possibilities for the future and shares these with inspiration, stories, and ideas. The collective circuit contains two subcircuits, the logic circuit and the sensing circuit. Collective circuitry is all about sharing, but this is not personal sharing like we see in the tribal circuit. This is pure human sharing, the kind of sharing that comes in situations that involve in survival of the species. So the sharing of the collective energies, right? People with collective energy, particularly in the logic circuit, will intuitively know how to fix or improve things. This understanding may be interpreted by others as criticism, but the goal of the collective is to express the perfected form of the human experience and to create the infrastructure to support the ongoing evolution and abundance of humanity. As difficult as this may be to understand, this criticism is not personal, and to a certain extent, it isn't even about caring so much as it is about sharing the most perfect form of expression. The collective shares because we are one, and your experience is really the same as mine, even though we're differentiated as two different people. We are still having a human experience, and that has some common threads. Affirmations for the collective circuit. If you have a collective circuitry, I like to see the patterns in all things. I wait until it feels right to try new things. I share my ideas, stories, and advice with people who ask for them. So the first collective subcircuit that we're going to talk about is the logic circuit. The agreements we make with the logic circuit create the stability for building the structures that maintain society and cultural empires. For example, we collectively agree that math problems are calculated in the same way to consistently get the same answer. Because of this, we agree on how we calculate interest on debts and loans. The validity of logic is born out of time and repetition, allowing us to be comfortable with the future. We can predict what is to come based on the patterns of the past. The logical mind can only share opinions that are subject to validation. People with a lot of opinions are often met with resistance until they can prove themselves to be correct. A person with definition in the logic circuit will feel compelled to share. The key is waiting to be asked to share. It's an energetic compulsion. No one likes to wait, but the right logic shared at the right time is impactful. The right logic that's forced on others is ignored or resisted. So the logic circuit channels are the 63-4, logic in the head, acceptance, the 1762, talent, the 1648, judgment, the 1858, focus, the 952, rhythm, the 15-5, and the alpha, 731. And the next one is the sensing circuit. And this is the last of the collective subcircuits. So the sensing circuit is the second part of the collective circuitry, and the sensing circuit gets its energy from the root, the sacral, and the emotional solar plexus. The circuit is all about telling stories about the past and incorporating new experiences into the bigger story of humanity. The sensing circuit is holistic, right-brained, sensual, and experiential. Epiphanies, great understanding, aha moments, and curiosity are contained here. Because most of the circuit is about new experiences and curiosity, there's a potential for unrooted daydreaming and chaos if you don't follow your strategy with this circuit. Luckily, there are other circuits to ground the daydreams of the sensing circuit and bring the ideas generated here into form. Even though we all contain aspects of this circuit, in Western cultures there is a bias against this circuit. We are deeply conditioned to learn in a logical, linear, and patterned way. People who are strongly defined in the sensing circuit often struggle to articulate their thoughts and to avoid the impulse to take action. Think ADD as the sensing circuit. In truth, both kinds of thinking are necessary, logical and sensual. The experiences of the sensing circuit tend to flow into logic and determine if there are duplicable patterns. Sometimes with the sensing circuit, there are patterns, while other times it's just about having an experience. The energy in this circuit is the energy that allows an individual to push the envelope of the human experience, and for all of us to use that experience to make it a part of our own story of life. And the sensing circuit channels are the channel of abstraction, 6447, curiosity, 1156, maturation, 5342, discovery, the 2946, the prodigal, 3313, fantasy and desire, the 4130, and transistoriness, 3536. Okay, so this is a lot of information to process. So I suggest that you take your time and select one aspect of this to contemplate on for a while. This is your exploration and your process, and you'll integrate and absorb at your own pace. So for the remaining weeks of the program, allow yourself to mull over these keywords in contemplation while driving, showering, doing housework, and let the energy of the information come into focus more as time goes on, even after you complete this program. if you want to dive deeper into human design, and there is a lot more to know, this is going to be our last module on specifically on human design. We're going to move into some other concepts next week. But there will be resources on my website, and I just developed a new members only forum, so you'll be able to go in there and access this information. And I will put a link in the comments so that you can access that as well. So one more time, the well work is going to be really taking a look at your body graph and determining which of these circuits is prominent in your design, and then taking a look at what that circuitry, what it says about you and how it's can be beneficial for you in your healing journey to have this awareness. And then also to take a look at the gates that are in those circuits that are defined in your chart, and dive into some keywords. So take the paragraphs that are in the book or the PDF and just pull out words that mean something to you, phrases that resonate with you about yourself and who you are in this journey that you're going on, and even things that that feel like they're things that you could change. So some not self aspects of your being as a result of maybe conditioned thoughts or negative self-talk and things like that. So just take a look at that for yourself, and then contemplate those things as you go about your daily life, driving or working, cleaning, doing whatever you're doing, but just, let those things kind of percolate until new awarenesses come up. And then, you can journal those things. You can share them with me in a one-on-one session, or you can post on the group page if you're so inclined to share with the others in the group. So that is it for today. And the links I mentioned will be posted, and definitely share your comments and feedback. Okay. Alrighty. I'm going to try to sign off here. All right. You guys have a great one, and we'll see you on the next module.